Eleanor of Austria was born into the family of Emperor Maximilian I of the Holy Roman Empire and Mary of Burgundy. As a princess, she received an excellent education and was involved in court life from an early age. In 1519, she became Queen of Portugal by marrying King Manuel I, and after his death in 1521, she returned to the Habsburg court. Later, to strengthen political ties, Eleanor became the wife of King Francis I of France. This marriage was part of diplomatic agreements, and she tried to fulfill her royal duties while maintaining peace between France and the Habsburgs. After her husband's death, she withdrew from politics and lived in the family's estates. Her fate reflects the important role of women in dynastic alliances, serving as instruments of diplomacy. Daniel Defoe was born in London to a family of dissenters. He received a solid education and initially pursued a career in commerce. After several financial failures, he turned to writing and became known for his sharp political pamphlets and later for creating the English novel. Daniel Defoe made history as the author of Robinson Crusoe, but his pen touched every genre, from satire to economic treatises. He wrote under dozens of pseudonyms and was imprisoned multiple times for his views. Living a turbulent life, he remained a restless observer until his final days. Human folly is inexhaustible, and so is the inspiration it provides. Artemisia II of Caria was born in the late 4th century BC into the Hecatomnid dynasty. According to tradition, she became the wife of her brother Mausolus and co-ruled the state with him. After his death, she inherited sole power and showed remarkable intelligence and devotion. Artemisia II entered history as the ruler who built one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the mausoleum at Halicarnassus. This grand monument was erected in honor of her late husband and brother, and it became a symbol of love and power. Her contemporaries admired her diplomatic skill and state wisdom. Even in harsh times, she remained a model of dignity. Her grief became the architecture of immortality. Charles VI was born in Vienna as the second son of Emperor Leopold I. Originally not expected to rule, he became heir after his brother Joseph I died without a male successor. Raised in the Habsburg tradition, Charles was deeply influenced by Spanish culture due to his earlier claim to the Spanish throne. Charles VI is remembered not for military triumphs, but for his efforts to preserve the empire's unity. He issued the Pragmatic Sanction to ensure his daughter Maria Theresa's succession, sparking opposition from European powers. His reign faced economic strain, yet the court remained splendid. "I rule not for glory, but for order," he said. Charles was a passionate collector, a patron of the arts, and left a complex but lasting legacy. Grand Duchess Alexandra Pavlovna was born in the late 18th century into the family of Emperor Paul I and Maria Feodorovna. From an early age, she received a well-rounded education, studying foreign languages, arts, and sciences. In the final years of that century, Alexandra was betrothed to Archduke Joseph of Austria, a union intended to strengthen the alliance between Russia and Austria. At the beginning of the 19th century, Alexandra married Joseph of Austria and became an archduchess. She engaged in charity and supported the arts, but the Austrian court treated her coldly due to her Orthodox faith. A few years after her wedding, following a difficult childbirth, she passed away at a young age. Jakob Prantower was born in Stans, Tyrol, into a modest artisan family. Trained as a stonemason, he later studied architecture, where his talent quickly became evident. He moved to Austria, where his career blossomed through commissions from monasteries seeking grandeur in stone and spirit. Prantower became a key figure of Austrian Baroque. His greatest masterpiece, Melk Abbey, stands as a symbol of the union between architecture, faith, and power. He didn't just design buildings. He created spiritual landscapes that inspired awe and elevation. In stone, one can pray no less than in words, a contemporary wrote of his work. Prantower laid the foundations of an architectural school that shaped a generation, including his nephew Joseph Mungen. Henrietta Wentworth was born in the 17th century into a noble English family, the only daughter of the 5th Baron Wentworth. Her childhood and youth unfolded in the calm world of aristocratic life. She became known early for her beauty and gentle nature until a sudden love changed her fate forever. Henrietta is remembered as the beloved of James Scott, Duke of Monmouth, the illegitimate son of King Charles II, and a claimant to the English throne. She followed him into exile, shared his poverty, and later stood by him during the ill-fated rebellion against James II. After the revolt failed, she died soon after, rumored to be from a broken heart. Her love for him was both her honor and her undoing. Maurice of Orange was born in Dillenburg into the powerful House of Nassau. The son of William the Silent, he received a military and humanist education in Leiden. From an early age, he was groomed to continue the Dutch struggle for independence from Spain. Maurice of Orange became a brilliant commander and military theorist. He reformed the Dutch army through discipline, fortification, and soldier training. His victories over the Spanish gave the Republic a much-needed respite. Politically, he was severe. His conflict with Johan van Oldenbarnevelt ended in the latter's execution. "War needs not loud words, but precise calculation," he said, leaving behind a new model army and a transformed view of authority. Maria Sophia of Neuburg was born into the family of Elector Palatine Philip William. She received an excellent education, studying foreign languages, etiquette, and politics. In the late 17th century, she married King Peter II of Portugal, becoming queen. As queen, Maria Sophia actively supported the arts, engaged in charity, and worked to strengthen the dynasty. Her union with Peter II contributed to the kingdom's stability. Despite political challenges, she left a significant mark on Portugal's history, becoming a symbol of devotion and royal dignity. Ahmed Albuni was born in the city of Buna, now known as Annaba, located in Algeria. He received a classical Islamic education, delving into theology, philosophy, and mathematics. He paid special attention to Sufism and occult sciences. Later, he moved to Egypt, where he continued his studies and gained recognition as a scholar of esoteric knowledge. Ahmed Albuni is best known for his work, Shams al-Ma'arif, which is considered one of the most influential books on Islamic mysticism and magic. He explored the properties of Arabic letters, the influence of numbers, and the hidden aspects of the Quran. His writings significantly impacted Sufi traditions and esoteric teachings in the Middle East. His works are still studied by followers of mystical traditions today. Princess Charlotte of Wales was the only child of George, Prince of Wales, and Caroline of Brunswick. Born into the troubled Hanoverian dynasty, she was raised amid royal scandal, but became a beacon of hope for the British monarchy. Her independent spirit and popularity with the public set her apart. Charlotte became the darling of the people. The English rose with a strong sense of duty and a warm nature. She rejected a political match and chose Prince Leopold of Saxe-Coburg for love. Their marriage symbolized a fresh start for the monarchy. But her sudden death in childbirth shook the nation. Not just a princess, but the future she carried was lost. "I am afraid, but happy," she whispered before the end. Her passing plunged London into mourning and sparked a race for heirs, which led to the birth of Queen Victoria. Maximilian I was born into the family of Emperor Frederick III and Eleanor of Portugal. In the year 1477, he married Mary of Burgundy, which brought the Habsburgs wealthy Burgundian territories. From an early age, he showed interest in military affairs, diplomacy, and reforms. Maximilian I significantly strengthened the power of the Habsburg dynasty. He conducted military campaigns, developed the economy, and reformed state administration. His marriage policy led to the expansion of Habsburg territories, laying the foundation for their future dominance in Europe. He also supported the arts and sciences, playing an important role in the cultural development of the Renaissance era. Isabella of Capua was born into a noble Neapolitan family and received a proper education. In 1529, she married Ferrante Gonzaga, joining one of the most influential aristocratic dynasties in Italy. In the following years, Isabella distinguished herself as a noble lady who supported the development of culture and the arts. She welcomed scholars and artists, patronized literature, and lived according to the high ideals of the Renaissance. Her life and legacy became part of the rich cultural heritage of the Italian nobility. Frederick Henry was born in Delft as the youngest son of William the Silent and Louise de Coligny. His youth coincided with the turbulent years of the 80 Years' War. From an early age, he stood at the heart of political events, destined for a role as a statesman. Frederick Henry succeeded his brother Maurice as stadtholder and played a decisive role in strengthening the Dutch Republic. His diplomacy, military leadership, and patronage of architecture turned The Hague into a center of power and culture. He also sought religious reconciliation while maintaining firm political control. He was called the Fox of The Hague for his wit, patience, and skillful intrigue. Zinga of Endango and Matoma was born into the royal family of the Mbundu people in what is now Angola. Trained in diplomacy and warfare from a young age, she stood out for her intellect and strength. Zinga rose to power in a time of crisis, when her kingdom was under threat from Portuguese colonial forces. Zinga became famous as a strategist and resolute leader who defended her lands and manipulated rivalries between European powers. She waged wars, formed alliances, adopted Christianity for diplomacy, and abandoned it when it lost its value. "I was born not to serve, but to rule," she said. Her reign lasted nearly half a century, leaving behind a legend of a woman who defied empires. Amar Singh I was born in the 16th century into the noble Sisodia dynasty as the son of the famous Maharana Pratap. His childhood was marked by military campaigns and fortified castles. From early on, he absorbed the spirit of resistance and independence, raised in the traditions of Muir heroism. After his father's death, Amar Singh inherited the throne of Muir and continued the fight against the Mughals, but eventually made peace with Emperor Jahangir. This decision saved his kingdom from destruction, though it sparked debate. Some saw him as a traitor, others as a wise strategist. He is remembered as a ruler who preserved both honor and homeland. A concession is not always weakness if it comes from the strength of survival. Clelia was born in Genoa into an aristocratic family uniting the Grillo and Borromeo houses. Her childhood was filled with reading and scientific experiments, impressing tutors with her intellect. By adolescence, she had mastered several languages, including Latin and Greek, and excelled in mathematics. Clelia became a renowned patron, philosopher, and hostess of one of Milan's most enlightened salons. Her gatherings welcomed scientists, poets, and thinkers like Vico and Montesquieu. She defended women's right to education and supported progressive scientific ideas. The mind, if unused, rust, she once wrote in a letter. Wilhelm VI of Hesse-Kassel was born into the prominent house of Hesse. From childhood, he was immersed in courtly discipline and Lutheran teachings. After his father's death, he inherited the Landgraviate at the age of 16, under the regency of his mother, Louise Elizabeth. Throughout his short reign, Wilhelm VI worked to restore his lands after the devastation of the 30 Years' War. He actively supported science and the arts, inviting renowned scholars and artists to Kassel. He paid special attention to the University of Marburg, dreaming of turning it into an intellectual hub. In politics, he remained cautious, avoiding conflicts and strengthening internal stability. The success of a ruler lies in being remembered with respect, not with regret. Isabella I of Castile was born into the royal family of Trastmara. She spent her early years in relative obscurity, far from the political center. After her brother's death and a contested succession, she was proclaimed heir to the throne and married Ferdinand of Aragon, shaping the future of Spain. As queen, Isabella carried out sweeping reforms, strengthened royal authority, and restructured the judicial system. She ended lawlessness and supported the Reconquista, returning Granada to Christian rule. Her support of Columbus changed world history. The discovery of the New World was her visionary achievement. Yet, her reign was also marked by harsh religious policies, the expulsion of Jews and the establishment of the Inquisition. She saw herself as God's chosen and acted with unwavering conviction. Henry I was a king of France from the Capetian dynasty. Born into the royal family, he received an education suited to his noble status, focusing on governance, military affairs, and diplomacy. In 1027, during his father's lifetime, he was crowned to secure succession. His reign was marked by efforts to consolidate power, facing noble uprisings and external conflicts, particularly with the Holy Roman Empire. The reign of Henry I was filled with challenges. He struggled against rebellious vassals and territorial disputes, particularly with the powerful Holy Roman Empire. Despite difficulties, he worked to strengthen the monarchy, supporting feudal lords while trying to maintain control over royal lands. His rule contributed to the gradual rise of the Capetian dynasty, paving the way for its long-lasting influence in French history. Louise Elizabeth of Orleans was a French princess, daughter of Philippe II, Duke of Orleans, and Françoise Marie de Bourbon. She was raised at the French court, receiving an excellent education in literature, art, and court etiquette. In 1722, she married King Louis I of Spain as part of a political alliance to strengthen ties between France and Spain. However, Louise Elizabeth's life in Spain was difficult. The young king soon fell ill, and a few months after their wedding, he passed away, leaving her a widow. Unable to adapt to the Spanish court, she returned to France. She spent her final years in seclusion, suffering from illness, and died at the age of 33. Despite her husband's brief reign, her marriage played a crucial role in diplomatic relations between France and Spain. James Compton was born in England into a noble family. He inherited the title of Earl of Northampton after his father's death in 1643. He received a good education and was involved in the country's political life from an early age. In addition, he actively supported the royal authority, striving to maintain its influence even during the growing crisis. During the English Revolution, he supported the Royalists and actively participated in military actions. Despite political upheavals, he maintained his influence and continued to serve the monarchy. His actions and loyalty to the crown left a significant mark on England's history. He was not only a military leader, but also took part in diplomatic negotiations, hoping to achieve reconciliation between the conflicting sides. Louise Marie of Bourbon-II Sicilies was born in Naples into the royal house of Bourbon-II Sicilies. A granddaughter of Ferdinand I, she received a strict Catholic upbringing and was raised amid the ceremonies of Neapolitan court life. Her marriage to Ferdinand of Austria-Este brought her to Modena, where she became Duchess Consort. In Modena, Louise Marie became a symbol of virtue and devotion. Her piety, charity, and modesty earned admiration. She endured exile during the revolutions and stood loyally beside her husband. It is not power that adorns a woman, but her faith and courage, contemporaries said with the Duchess. Despite personal hardships, she remained true to her duty, leaving behind the image of an ideal Catholic princess in an age of turmoil. Louis XVI was born into the French Bourbon dynasty and received a thorough but conservative education. At 20, he ascended the throne in 1774, shy and well-meaning, but ill-prepared for the mounting crisis. In 1775, he was crowned at Reims with great ceremony, yet the storm of revolution was already gathering. At his coronation, Louis was full of good intentions, but had little grasp of how to rule a nation burdened by debt and hunger. He abolished torture and encouraged science, but hesitated before real reform. His marriage to Marie Antoinette symbolized the monarchy's disconnect. Even in these early years, unrest was stirring, and his indecision would prove fatal. "I fear doing harm in pursuit of good," he confessed. 14 years later, revolution would erupt, and the crown would become a sentence. Anna Maria van Sherman was born in Cologne to a Dutch Protestant family. Gifted from a young age, she mastered Latin, Greek, Hebrew, and even Arabic. Her intellect attracted the attention of leading thinkers, and she became the first woman allowed to attend university lectures in the Dutch Republic from behind a curtain. She was not only a scholar and poet, but also a painter, theologian, calligrapher, and engraver. Van Sherman corresponded with Descartes, Boyle, Pierre Gassendi, and Princess Elizabeth of Bohemia. In her treatise on the education of women, she claimed that women's minds were just as perfect as men's. "The greatest ignorance is to believe a woman incapable of wisdom," she wrote. Later, she joined the mystical Labadist movement, but retained her scholarly reputation and remained an icon of early feminism.